So we've been following this Cenk Uygur journey. He's been going on all these different podcasts, talking to people on the right, talking to MAGA type of individuals. And he's been claiming that MAGA has moved, MAGA has changed. And now Don Jr. has weighed in. So we're going to go ahead and watch this so that we can see how Cenk responds.
Earlier today, we were talking about how I went on a bunch of right-wing shows and did some outreach and came back with some notes and what they agree with, right? And I wrote about it in social media too. The reason we're showing you Donald Trump Jr. here is because he responded just now while we were live on air. So I'm gonna read you my tweet and then his response, and then we'll analyze it. So my post on X that was from yesterday said, 2 amazing things just happened. First, I went on about a half a dozen right-wing shows, and they all agreed we should cut the Pentagon, prevent generals from working for defense contractors, and Edward Snowden should be pardoned. Second, absolutely no one on the left believes them. Okay, so that is a bit of an exaggeration. It's an X post, so it's kind of abbreviated. For example, do I believe that the right-wing hosts actually believe that and the right-wing populace actually believe that? Yeah, I believe it, and I'm sure several other people do. But the general reaction I've gotten from other left-wing hosts, influencers, etc., was, "Oh, you're crazy, it's naive, no way they're gonna do that, and no way they believe that." Okay. And maybe you will still believe that after you read Donald Trump Jr.'s responses, but it's interesting that he's on the record. So he just responded about an hour ago, "I'm all for this. So is pretty much everyone I know on the right. If the left doesn't believe me, there's probably countless tweets, interviews, and my Triggered podcast to refer to. This seems more like a universal to most Americans I've spoken to."
Yes.
That is the president's son and very influential, saying, yes, we would like to do the dream that left-wing populists have had for decades. Cut the Pentagon, conflict of interest rules, and then more recently, free Edward Snowden. Guys, take yes for an answer, okay? So he had one more comment. He said, only contention I know of would come from the establishment on both sides.
Yep.
Permanent Washington likely does not like a lot of this.
Correct.
And see, here's the whole thing about this situation. Don Jr. is right, but Cenk Uygur thinks that we're changing, that MAGA has changed to now agree with them. It's taken Cenk over 8 years to understand that we elected Donald Trump the first time to be that bull in the establishment china shop, right? We weren't aligned with the Democrats or the Republicans. We went and took a chance on Donald Trump, who kind of seemingly was a Democrat his whole entire life. He wasn't the most, assertive Christian, just because of what he was saying about making America great again. We believed that America had gone down the wrong path. We allowed the slippery slope that began during Bush and Obama to turn into a complete mess. They're dividing us by race. They're dividing us by LGBTQ or not. And Donald Trump was the guy that was supposed to come in and mend those bridges. Unfortunately, the left bought the mainstream media talking points when they called Donald Trump this fascist, this Nazi. Hillary Clinton called us a basket of deplorables. The fear mongering that LGBTQ people thought that Mike Pence and Donald Trump was going to take away their gay marriage rights, their gay marriage license, whatever fear bullcrap that the mainstream media, that the establishment was sending to the people. The sheep bought it. The snowflakes bought it. And even though Donald Trump spent 4 years proving that the Russian collusion hoax was a hoax, he tried left and right, along with his voter base, to convince lefties that he wasn't this villain that you all made him out to be. Instead, you guys stuck your head in the sand. Instead, they dug their toes in, they dug their feet in the ground, and they stood their ground. They maintained their position. They weren't willing to have the conversation. And it's led to now, look what we have. Kamala Harris was catering to the farthest fringe, trying to divide families, trying to tell women to, be dishonest to their husbands and go and vote for her and pretend that they voted with the misogynist husband. All these stupid campaigns. The White Guys for Harris, which was a bunch of fakers. That's all the Democratic Party has become. And America has set the mandate that we're tired of it. That once again, we are going to send Donald Trump into the establishment China shop to mix it up, to break everything and restore the power back to the people.
But they're not in charge at the moment, right? Well,
yeah.
At the very moment, they kind of are, but you get the point.
No, absolutely right. And that's another thing that triggered some folks on the left when I said, look, I didn't want Donald Trump to win. I fought super hard against it because he's that bull in a China shop, and I'm worried about some parts of that China shop, like our Constitution, our democracy, et cetera. But I am weirdly optimistic and hopeful now after the election, not because I'm happy that Trump won, but because the establishment is defeated. And the establishment is immovable. And they never would free Edward Snowden. They would never cut the Pentagon. They never do. They would never have conflict of interest rules because they think, oh my God, if we do it for the generals, maybe they're going to think about doing it for the politicians. And the politician, oh my God, how would I feed my family if I can't make millions of dollars after I retired being a lobbyist and a consultant and all these things? So, look, here they are. Now, this is the second time Donald Trump Jr. has responded and said yes. And when I go on the shows, guys, it's not like I'm making them agree or this is the first time they heard about it. And they're like, oh, maybe. No, as he's saying here, we've been for this. You guys weren't listening.
Okay, Cenk, I have to say something. And look.
Exactly. We've been for this. You guys were not listening. We tried over and over and over again. And even still, you have reserved judgment because look what you just said, Cenk. You claimed that you're still concerned that Donald Trump might do something to the Constitution or whatever, right? Donald Trump is trying to restore things back to the Constitution. So stop with the nonsense. I'm not falling for it. I only think he's saying these things because Donald Trump won. I believe that if Kamala Harris had won this election, he'd be up here saying, MAGA, you're a bunch of idiots. Kamala Harris is going to save us, all this bullshit. And so anyways, let's continue. I want to hear what Anna Kasparian has to say.
No one knows for sure. No one knows for sure because no one was in any of those rooms where Trump allegedly said very naughty things. But the generals hated Trump. They always hated Trump. Trump wanted to pull out of Afghanistan. They didn't want to pull out of Afghanistan. So all of the stories quoting, military generals who had meetings with Trump, closed door meetings, and Trump allegedly said all of these naughty things. I don't know what to believe because it's a he said, she said type situation.
So I think I hear you that it's mixed, but it's definitely not mixed, okay? I mean, it's definitely not clear in Trump's favor.
No, I agree. Like we don't know, but like everyone just takes what the generals say at face value.
But I don't. So like there's things that people that have said, generals included, where I go, that one doesn't sound credible.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like him.
Never once has Cenk actually said that. He's lying right here. He's the one that has been shouting from his soapbox on Piers Morgan, on his own show, on everywhere that he's given the opportunity to speak, that Donald Trump doesn't listen to his generals. Donald Trump tried to pass his own electorates. Donald Trump tried to rewrite the Constitution. Multiple bullcrap accusations that he himself, Cenk Uygur, has spent decades perpetuating lies. And so now all of a sudden he's going to come out here and try to act like he's a little bit to the understanding or whatever. It's bullcrap. He's either faking now or he's been faking his whole career. Which one do you think it is?
I mean, on the Steele dossier, we were instantly like, that doesn't sound like Trump at all.
Right.
So we built up a lot of credibility on calling stuff as it is. Some of the things the general said sounded very credible. Okay, now again, we could all agree, disagree. They're not anonymous anymore. They're saying it on the record, but we weren't in the room. Okay, fine. But Trump did do some things that weren't just quote unquote naughty. They were, No,
the things he did actually did. He carried out actions that obviously were wrong, and we've talked about that, and we've disagreed with what he did.
Like what?
I'm just saying. Trump has always been, I don't know about his entire life, but in terms of his role in politics, he has said and pursued certain things that the military industrial complex absolutely despises.
Yeah, so that was the second part I was gonna get to. So while I think that he did do and say a bunch of those terrible things, in my opinion, but it is also true that the military industrial complex hated him, and that is a slight positive, or maybe it's a massive positive. And look, here I'll give Trump and Biden credit and discredit to Obama. Obama had the instinct that he wanted to pull out of Afghanistan. He said he wanted to pull out of Afghanistan. He got into office and the generals browbeat him. And they're like, listen here, okay, you're a young whippersnapper. You don't know anything. Us generals in the field know that permanent war will get us millions of dollars in contracts later. I mean, really important for the national security. What did the extra 18 years or so in Afghanistan get us in terms of national security? Nothing. Bupkis. What did he get those defense contractors?
A lot.
Like literally trillions of dollars,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And the generals sucked off of that teat.
Yes, they did.
As they almost all went into the military industrial complex after they retired, right? That's why Donald Trump Jr. said in the first response, we're already working on that rule about the conflict of interest. So that's terrific. So Obama got browbeat by those guys, but Trump said, no, we're pulling out of Afghanistan, did the original deal, and I gave him credit for that because we only care about policy. We don't care about drama and all that stuff.
Right.
And then Biden actually did pull us out of Afghanistan. That's a thing I give him credit for, as sloppy as it was, right? So guys, bottom line is, if they're saying they're going to do it, great, encourage them, and then let's see if they do it or not. And if they don't do it, hold them accountable. What's the hard part, right? And if they do it, can we be fair enough to give credit where credit is due? And here we will. So because we care about policy, eyes on the prize.
Yeah, we'll see about that, because that's what Trump did his whole first 4 years, and you never gave him credit. He separated himself from all of his businesses. He eliminated all of the conflicts of interest, and y'all just went balls deep on Donald Trump is the worst person in history, and you even graduated into calling him a Nazi and all everything else that you guys, every single ist and phobe in the book. So, you claiming that you there on the Young Turks will actually call the spade, I'm reserving my judgment, but if I was willing to bet, I would say you're lying right there, Cenk. Look, everybody knows that has been paying attention from the Donald Trump side of things that gave him a chance in the first place. Because the reality is a lot of people voted for him the first time and kind of like, here, I'm going to plug my nose and hold my breath and push the button just to give him a chance. I mean, Donald Trump even challenged the black community to, by saying, what do you have to lose? Because the way that things were going weren't working. And then here we are again. The way that things are going under Biden weren't working for us. And the fact that you still remain today, Cenk, saying that you give Biden credit for pulling out of Afghanistan when it cost Americans lives, it cost our allies lives, it gave up a $4 trillion Air Force base and billions of dollars of equipment and returned power in Afghanistan to the Taliban, you're crazy. That's insane that you can't just say that Joe Biden was bad for our country. Why do you still have to be in the bag for the Democrats? And I can tell you why. I can tell you the answer to that question is that you are still trying to cater to your base, the base that you've spent your lifetime building up. Because you know that if you go over to the MAGA side, even if you really want to, which I don't believe, I think you're just doing it for money, you're a poser, you're grifting. But if you do it too hard, that your established paying subscribers will walk away from you because you have brainwashed them. You and your party have done the work to brainwash these people into hating people like me and people like Donald Trump who want what's best for every single American, right? You guys have to have the dividing line. And those people are stuck and it's your fault. So, I don't know. You make your bed, you lie in it, whatever the phrase goes. And that's where I'll wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video Also, I'll remind you, I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. with the Jar Openers podcast. It's on this channel. It's also on X and some of the other platforms as well. And I hope to see you guys there. I look forward to meeting you guys and having a conversation. We also have a Discord link that you can find down in the description of this video. But hey, if I don't see you in a live, if I don't see you in the Discord, make sure you're on the lookout for my next video because it's one that you're not going to want to miss.